MLS fans, I'm hoping you're having a really good day. I'm Oscar Moneyball, and in this video I'll be using my cutting edge match simulator to help us predict the scores, win probabilities, and goal scoring opportunities for all of this weekend's MLS Major League Soccer games. It's match day 11. We have 14 games to go over, and we'll be starting with Austin hosting the Western Conference leaders, LA Galaxy. Just make sure we're good. So Austin FC hosting LA Galaxy. As I've mentioned in some of my previous videos, Austin FC is a team that concedes a lot of goals as well as being able to score a pretty decent amount of goals per game. So expected goals for this match against LA Galaxy, Austin FC is expected to score 1.8 goals, anywhere between 1 or 2 goals. LA Galaxy is expected to score 3.6 goals, anywhere between 3 to 4. As always, a good rule of thumb using my match simulator is plus or minus 1 goal. So it could be that Austin FC don't score a goal and it's a 1-0, 2-0 match for LA Galaxy. Anyways, moving forward, the win probability is in favor for LA Galaxy to continue their reign in the Western Conference. 55% win probability to win this match versus Austin FC's 14%. The over 0.5 goals for Austin FC is at 68%. Meanwhile, LA Galaxy is at 80% to score 1 goal in this match. The over 1.5 goals is 43% for Austin FC. Meanwhile, LA Galaxy has a very high 70%. LA Galaxy is off to a great start. They had a really good game against San Jose Earthquakes. They look solid. Paintsill, Djokovic, and Gabriel look really good. I think it's Gabriel Peña. I forgot his last name, but they have a really good, solid attacking strength, and I can only see them getting better. They do have Vancouver breathing down their necks for that Western Conference number 1 spot, but one game at a time. Second match, we have the Crew, Columbus Crew hosting Montreal. Expected goals for this match for the Crew is 2.0 versus Montreal's 1.1. As I said, plus or minus 1 goal would give us Crew winning this match at the very least 1-0. Win probability for the Crew is at 56% versus Montreal's 21%. The over 0.5 goals for this one is 84% for the Crew, 65% for Montreal to score their first goal in this match. The over 1.5 goals, scoring over 1 goal in this match, is 58% for the Crew versus 30% for Montreal. I could expect the Crew to continue their good rhythm. They are a team that are playing, as I mentioned on my X profile, they're a team that's playing chess in a league that some teams are barely starting to understand how to play checkers. That's the analogy I'm using for this. They are looking really good, and if there's a couple of posts that I've been posting on my X account for you guys to check out on some tactical analysis. Maybe I'll do a video on them. Match 3, DC United hosting Seattle Sounders. Seattle Sounders just came from a loss. Both of these teams losing 2-0 versus DC United lost against New York FC, and Seattle versus Vancouver. Expected goals for this one, DC United 1.7 versus Seattle Sounders 1.5. Very even game there as far as goals. But the win probability, we do see that DC United have the advantage, 42% versus 21% for Seattle Sounders. The over 0.5 goals is highly in favor for DC United to score a high 80% versus Seattle 74%. We do see two teams with a leaky defense. Maybe this could be a both teams to score. Could be an over 2.5 goals. Let's see what the over 1.5 tells us. So this drops dramatically for DC United as they only have 48% to score over 1 goal in this one versus Seattle's 41%. I think if any team wants to secure the victory for this one and expecting, both teams to score, I'd say, whoever wants to win needs to score that second goal. Match number 4, FC Cincinnati, who just came from winning against Atlanta United at home, is receiving Colorado Rapids, who just had a really good victory versus FC Dallas. Cincinnati expected goals 0.7 versus Colorado 0.8. We're expecting a low scoring match fought in the midfield, lots of transitions back and forth. Don't know what to say about this one other than Colorado Rapids have been in really good form lately, and FC Cincinnati just had a really good confidence booster winning versus Atlanta away. The win probability for Cincinnati, however, is 27% versus Colorado's 36%. So Colorado are the favorites for this one. The over 0.5 goals for Cincinnati, we have 49% versus 56% for Colorado Rapids. The over 1.5 goals for FC Cincinnati is 16% versus 20% for Colorado. Moving on, match number 5, New England Revolution hosting Messi and friends, Inter Miami. Expected goals we see here very even, 1.1 goals for both teams. We can expect this to be it's telling us it's going to be a low scoring match. The win probability is telling us that this is also a very evenly matched game that we're going to be witnessing. 38% win probability for New England, 34% for Messi and friends, Inter Miami. The over 0.5 goals is in favor for the home team, 66% for New England Revolution versus 63% for Inter Miami. However, Inter Miami have the X factor, which is Messi, which is Suarez, which is, a coach like Tata Martino and players like Busquets and Jordi Alba, and along with some others. So, New England Revolution, though, they were able to score a couple goals against America away in Estadio Azteca. Let's just see how this game plays out. I would be hands off on this one, as the over 1.5 goals for New England Revolution is very low, 31% versus Inter Miami's even lower, 21%. Again, it's soccer. Remember, plus or minus 1 or 2 goals for this match simulator. Anything could happen. It's the lovely sport of soccer. Match 6, one of my favorites this season. New York City, part of the City Group teams, is hosting Charlotte FC. Charlotte FC, who just lost at home. They are hurt. Their fortress has been breached. We'll see how they do away against New York City. Expected goals for New York City is 1.2 versus 0.6 for Charlotte. Win probability is a nice coin toss, 50% for NYFC versus 19% for Charlotte. The over 0.5 goals for this one is 69%. 69% for New York City versus 43% for Charlotte FC. Over 1.5 drops to 32% for New York FC versus Charlotte's 13%. I do expect New York City to continue their good form, especially being at home. Charlotte are defensively strong, so this might be a tough one, maybe a 1-0 game, 2-1 game, 2-0 even for New York City. I just don't see New York City losing. Match 7, New York Red Bulls versus Vancouver Whitecaps. A New York Red Bull team that just went out all the way to LAFC's home field and was able to get a draw, was able to walk away with 1 point. Now they'll be facing the team that's in second place for the Western Conference, Vancouver Whitecaps, another of my favorites. So this will be a really interesting game. Expected goals for this one is very low as well. 0.6 for NYRB, the New York Red Bulls, versus 0.6 for Vancouver Whitecaps. The win probability for the Red Bulls is 26% versus 31% for Vancouver. The over 0.5 goals is 40% for New York Red Bulls versus 45% for Vancouver. The over 1.5 is 10% for New York Red Bulls to score over 1 goal, and 12% for Vancouver to score over 1 goal. Very even match. Don't know how to call it, but Vancouver do need to put some pressure on LA Galaxy. There is a little bit of a race going on there in the Western Conference. Let's just see how Vancouver decides to react. New York Red Bulls will do their game and make sure they don't leave or let any opponent walk away with some points at home. Match 8, Orlando City hosting Kicking and Screaming's Toronto FC. We got the two Italians in Toronto FC that have been off to a really good start. Last weekend they were able to get a victory 1-0. I forgot against which team. Orlando City, I believe, drew. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but Orlando City expected goals 1.5 versus Toronto's 0.8. Win probability for this one, Orlando does have the edge, 54% versus Toronto's 20%. The over 0.5 goals for this one, Orlando is expected to score a goal, 77% versus 54% for Toronto. The over 1.5 goals drops dramatically to 43% for Orlando and 35% for Toronto. In all the lines, it seems to be that Orlando City is the better team. Toronto being used to playing in cold weather, going into somewhere like Orlando that's very humid, that muggy weather that Florida is known for, could be a determining factor for Orlando City to have an edge versus Toronto. Match 9, Philadelphia Union versus Real Salt Lake. One of the games I'll personally be watching, as Real Salt Lake have been off to a really good start. Arango has been doing really good, has been really solid, scoring goals consistently for RSL, a Philadelphia Union squad that is trusting the process. They are incorporating into this MLS season little by little. They've been responsible for a couple of upsets where they were definitely not the favorites and walked away with 3 points. They are at home hosting a really good offensive team. Expected goals for the Union 1.3 versus Real Salt Lake's 1.2. Very even game there. Win probability is in favor for the Union, 39% versus 34% for RSL. The over 0.5 goals for this one. The Union are expected to score with the probability of 73% versus RSL's 70%, giving us a good feeling of both teams to score on this one. Over 1.5, we see that the Union have 38% to score over 1 goal versus RSL's 35% to score over 1 goal. I think this will be one of the best games this weekend. I'm excited to see how the Union is able to defend against RSL's dynamic attack. RSL, I'm expecting them to score, and the Union, they have to put a fight at home. This could be a both teams to score and over 2.5 goals in the match. Moving on to match 10, we have Chicago FC that have been on this little downwards trend, hosting Atlanta United. Chicago's form hasn't been the best lately, and Atlanta has just received their first loss at home, I believe, this season. So Atlanta needs to bounce back. Atlanta has been able and capable of scoring a good amount of goals this season. Chicago have been receiving a lot of goals, especially at home, versus various, numerous teams that they've been playing. Expected goals for Chicago, 1.6 versus Atlanta's 1.0. Win probability is in favor for Chicago to take this game, 51% versus 23% for Atlanta. Over 0.5 goals, 79% for Chicago. It's very likely that they will score in this match versus 61% for Atlanta United. Over 1.5 goals for Chicago is 47% versus 26% for Atlanta to score over 1 goal in this one. This one could be a low-scoring game. This could be a really entertaining game. let this one play out, but I'd go with double chance for Chicago as they seem to have a good edge on all the lines in this one. Match 11, we have a Texas Derby, FC Dallas hosting Houston Dynamo. Houston Dynamo just coming from a loss versus another Texas team from Austin, losing 0-1. FC Dallas losing versus Colorado 2-1. Both of these teams need this game, especially since they're from the same state. There's a lot on the line for this one, especially within fans. FC Dallas expected goals 0.7 versus Houston's 1.2. Win probability, however, is not in favor for this Dallas team. 23% win probability versus Houston's 46%. The over 0.5 goals for this one is a nice coin toss for FC Dallas to score one goal, 50% versus Houston's 66%. Scoring over 1.5 goals in this one, FC Dallas has a very low 15%, potentially one of the lowest I've seen in all of these 14 matches, versus Houston Dynamo's 33%. This one says Houston Dynamo all over it. Let's see how the game plays out. Match 12, Minnesota United having that controversy of one of their players going AWOL. Did get a positive result, winning 0-3. I forgot against who, but they are hosting Sporting Kansas City that just had a high-scoring game versus STL, tying 3-3. I mentioned that in the previous video. There's a lot on the line on these derbies, especially Kansas City and STL, two teams that are highly competitive and capable of scoring goals. Gave us a spectacular game. Minnesota expected goals is 0.8 versus Sporting Kansas City, 0.9 goals. The win probability also in favor for the away team at 35% win probability for Sporting Kansas City to win this game versus Minnesota United's 32% win probability to take this one. The over 0.5 goals is very low for both of these teams. 53% for Minnesota to score, 56% for Sporting Kansas City to score. We'll see how this one plays out. The over 1.5, very low. Minnesota United, 19% to score over one goal for this one, and 21% for Kansas City to score over one goal in this game. Not really a game I'm going to be watching. I wouldn't put any money on this one, and we move forward. Match 13, we have Nashville hosting San Jose Earthquakes. Nashville just lost last week versus Inter Miami 3-1. They were able to score, to rack up on the expected goals a pretty high number that did not match the goals that they scored. So I do expect Nashville to push forward in this one and continue their home reign and win this match versus my Earthquakes. However, it tells us here that the Earthquakes are expected to win this one. Expected goals 1.6 for Nashville versus 2.0 for the Earthquakes. Can we finally see an Earthquakes away win? Win probability tells us yes. Win probability for the Earthquakes to take this match versus Nashville is at 46%. Versus Nashville's 30% win probability for this one. The over 0.5 goals is at 83% for San Jose Earthquakes. San Jose Earthquakes to score. Put that on a parlay with something. Versus 72% for Nashville to score. Looks like both teams to score is highly favored in this one, as the Earthquakes are capable of scoring and also capable of conceding. I mentioned this on a video where I gave my analysis on the start of the Earthquake season. Maybe you should watch that one. The overs 1.5 goals for Nashville is at 43% versus San Jose Earthquakes 56% to score over one goal in this one. I'm surprised that the Earthquakes look like they are the favorites in this one. Nashville is a strong team. They did just play against another really strong team last weekend to help them build up some confidence, and they were able to rack up expected goals there, walk away with the goal. I think they damn near tied in expected goals with Inter Miami, and Inter Miami had a PK. So if you take that PK away from them, could have been still victory for Inter Miami, but we'll see how this one looks very juicy. I'm not sure how the sports books are, playing this one out, but this feels juicy. I would put some money on the Earthquakes, maybe a double chance. Definitely for the Earthquakes to score. And we move on to the last game of the Matchday 11 slate. We have LAFC hosting at home versus Portland Timbers. LAFC just tied versus New York Red Bulls 2-2. They looked really good. They were able to score. It's a shame that they allowed goals versus New York Red Bull team. An LAFC team that has been struggling to find their form, to find that cohesiveness between the different types of players that they have in the offense. Although they're very gifted, I do believe a lot of the players that they have up top don't really contribute to the defensive work, and their transitions back into defense are a little bit slow at times. Portland Timbers, as I mentioned in my previous video, are a team that is able to score, and they're able to concede some goals. So this one's definitely of both teams to score, at least in my opinion. The match simulator is saying expected goals for LAFC is 2.3 versus Portland Timbers 1.1. Win probability highly in favor for LAFC, 61% versus 17% for Portland. The over 0.5 goals is at a high 87% for LAFC to score their first goal in this one. Portland has 65% to score one goal. Now the over 1.5 is at a high 65% versus Portland's 30% to score over one goal. And let me just double check. Only LA Galaxy have a higher percentage probability to score over 1.5 goals in this match. Maybe if you want to have a good juicy parlay, you can have LAFC over 1.5 goals in this match and pair that up with LA Galaxy's over 1.5 goals versus Austin FC. If you want to go a little safer, I'd go for both of this for Austin FC's match versus LA Galaxy. Both teams together over 1.5 goals, over 1.5 goals for LAFC and Portland Timbers, and add San Jose to score. That should pay out really good. Maybe give you some even money on that one. Hopefully some plus money. Maybe another bet that I see here that we can cook up is both teams to score between the Union and RSL. And what looks good? Maybe a New York City double chance or a straight win. Seems like a good one. One that I'm not too sure. Haven't seen any of the sports books, but maybe a New England Revolution's double chance might be pretty decent. And a DC United Seattle Sounders, both teams to score. Just throw that in there. Alrighty, I would keep my hands off of the Cruz game. Mostly because they did have a really tough game against Monterrey, and they will be playing the second leg of that semifinal match this upcoming week. So who knows how they come out and play this one. But knowing the Crew, I'm sure they're going to go with their best players regardless of who they're playing. We'll see. Make sure we transition over. Yes, so thank you so much for watching. I really hope you like this type of content. As I mentioned in previous videos, there's not a lot of content that goes behind just throwing betting tips out here. It's more about the data analytics side of it. We like to incorporate, you know, our analysis and use our match simulator as a tool to give us a good reference of where the teams are at and where they're going and what we can expect. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this type of content, what you'd like to see, or let me know what type of bets you'll be placing, or if you think that my match simulator is wrong. Let's just say you think Portland is going to win. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think about the earthquakes, and go check out my video where I review the season, the start of the season for the earthquakes. Anyways, thank you so much. I wish you guys have a really good weekend. Hug your loved ones, drink some water, take a shot for me, and peace.